So did the New York Knicks provide a blueprint on how to beat the Spurs? Or were the finals more of a personnel issue that San Antonio has since addressed? Let's get into it.
You are Locked On Spurs, your daily San Antonio Spurs podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Hello and welcome back to Locked On Spurs. My name is Matthew Tynan. Thank you, as always, for making us a part of your day. On today's show, we were kind of curious about how are the refs going to call Victor next season? What about Steph Castle? What about Dylan Harper? Has their ascent been sharp enough? Has the learning curve been sharp enough for refs to, I guess, maybe give them a little more benefit of the doubt? We're also going to get into we're going to take a look at the Southwest Conference, the Southwest Division, I should say. I think I might have football on the mind. I'm not sure. Even though there is no Southwest Conference anymore, there used to be. I'm showing my age. It doesn't matter. But first, I'm bringing in Tyler, the producer, right off the start, because we're going to get into some questions that, once again, were posed to us from our editorial overlord, Corey Zanoni, from halfway across. That's
Overlord's new.
We're workshopping. We're workshopping job titles for Corey. We're gonna see which one he likes most whenever right now he's dead asleep, I think. No. It's like the middle of his day. I don't even know. It doesn't matter.
Know that.
Yeah, we should probably know that. He's in Australia, so what time is it even down there? Do they even keep time? I'm not even sure. But first, Tyler, what is the first question on the docket, sir?
So, what, if anything, do you think it's a copycat league? What, if anything, do you think other teams are going to take away from how the Knicks beat the Spurs? And who do you think is best positioned to apply those lessons?
Yeah, I mean, I think what really hurt San Antonio in those finals, we've talked ad nauseum about sort of a lack of execution on the offensive end in basically every game down the stretch of those games. Yes, they were able to close one of them out, but for the most part, the lack of execution was rough. And you gotta give Karl-Anthony Towns, I thought, did a really good job defensively on Victor for a lot of the series. I think that you also have to give Josh Hart specifically a lot of credit for the defensive job that he did on Steph Castle for a lot of the series. But in terms of schemes, I think that it was a confluence or a combination of things that we had sort of pointed to for a lot of the season that we thought might give San Antonio trouble. Yeah. And one of the things that they were able to exploit, or I should say, they put Victor Wembanyama in a ton of compromising positions as a defender. They know how impactful he is on that side of the ball, and you got to scheme around him. They did a great job of doing so, specifically with Karl-Anthony Towns and the way they utilized him, and then the way they utilized guys around him. We know the sort of in certain moments the hero ball that Jalen Brunson went into, sometimes successfully, especially in that last game when he had 45 points in the closeout game, 45. He was incredible. And you saw what happened when guys like Steph Castle got in foul trouble, the things that he was able to do to the Spurs. So I think it all starts with moving Victor around, figuring out ways to move him around, and they were able to do so. Now, kind of like I teased in the cold open, was this more of a schematic thing that New York did any differently, or was it more of a personnel thing? And you also asked, or I guess indirectly, Corey asked, our editorial overlord.
Position well to do the same thing.
I mean, in theory, it's Oklahoma City, and what we saw out of Oklahoma, or what we saw to the Knicks that we didn't see out of Oklahoma City. On one hand, you saw Karl-Anthony Towns, who for the most part had a great series. In the Oklahoma City series, you have a guy with a similar set of skills. He's not as strong and physical as Karl-Anthony Towns, but he has a similar skill set. you saw Chet Holmgren disappear, like just not live up to the stage or the hype of the moment, however you want to put it. And then you have a guy, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, and a facsimile in Jalen Brunson. The big difference where the Knicks had a guy like OG Anunoby who was huge in that series, not just the tip in. He had some big games just on the whole. They didn't. The Thunder didn't have J-Dub. The Thunder had guys that were banged up. AJ Mitchell got hurt in the middle of the series. So, like, to me, it was more of a personnel thing than it was a scheme thing, because one of the things that Oklahoma City was doing whenever Victor, he gave them problems, but they were doing a good job spreading him out. And one of the things that really hurt the Spurs in that series in particular was when Victor was off the court and they had all that floor spacing when Luke Cornett was on the court.
Yeah.
That was problematic. So to me, it was more of a personnel thing than a scheme thing necessarily. And in that regard, going out and getting someone like Tobias Harris, who has sort of the same physical dimensions as an OG Anunoby, another wing, another big forward body to put into that mix to help out on the glass, to provide some defense in space around Victor Wembanyama, should be pretty helpful. That's just kind of the way I looked at the whole thing.
Yeah, I mean, Tobias Harris is no OG Anunoby.
No, he's
on
not.
The defensive end. And
he's
just played out of his mind in the finals.
Yeah. I guess it's more, to me, it's more like a physical facsimile to that guy that you can sort of match up with him, because at that 4 spot, outside of Victor and outside of Cornett and Mitchell Robinson matching up, which is you live with that one. Yeah. They just didn't have the in-between. They didn't have sort of the hybrid forward type to be able to match up with that element of New York's front court, if that makes sense.
Yeah, we've got pretty good size at guard, and then when you start getting towards wing and forward, we're pretty average size at best and small in a lot of ways. That's why we went and got Terrace Reed Jr. and Tobias Harris and Jaden Quaintance to a certain degree, even though we probably won't see much of him this season.
Yeah, well, I mean, we'll see with those two guys, with Jaden Quaintance and Terrace Reed Jr. Like, we'll see.
Yeah.
But obviously, we don't know what that is going to look like. But I don't know. I just thought that when we looked at the teams that were built to beat the Spurs, at least in our eyes last year, there's obviously the Thunder because they're the reigning champs at the time. And we know that they can beat San Antonio. We also know that, like, heading into that series, the Spurs did have certain personnel advantages over Oklahoma City. So I don't think it was I mean, I picked San Antonio to win that series in 7. Did you pick them did you make a pick? I don't even remember.
I want to say I said 6.
Okay, 6. Okay. Remember. I think I said
Feel
7.
Free to go
it's so long ago at this point.
Hold us accountable.
Yeah, please do. If you want to go all the way back, sift through all the episodes and find that one, please let us know. I think I picked Spurs in 7. It doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. Look, this portion of this episode took longer than we expected, as this often happens. But you know what? We have another pertinent question on the other side of the break. We're going to get to that one next. Today's episode is brought to you by Odoo. Running a business shouldn't feel like you're trying to connect a bunch of systems that were never designed to work together in the first place. One app for accounting, another for inventory, another for sales, and none of them talk to each other. That's where Odoo comes in. Odoo is an all-in-one business management software that brings every part of your business together in one powerful platform. From sales and accounting to inventory and marketing, everything works in one place, helping your team move faster, stay organized, and focused on growing the business instead of managing software. The best organizations know that success isn't just about talent, it's about having everyone working toward the same goal, and that's true in sports just like it is in business. Just look at what the Spurs just did. They lose in the finals, they don't panic. Yeah, sure, they know that they could probably use a little bit more talent. We just talked about the personnel in that matchup with the Knicks. They go out and get a guy like Tobias Harris. They go into the draft upgrade the front court. At least they hope they upgrade the front court. They got some more depth there at the very least, but they're all one group, talent and organization, moving toward one goal, and that is winning the title. Great organizations win because operations matter, and that's why you should get Odoo. Try for free today at odoo.com/lockedon. That's odoo.com/lockedon. All right, we are back. And look, if you are new to the show and you're enjoying the program, if you're enjoying the podcast, please be sure and, at least consider subscribing, following along wherever you get podcasts. If you've been here for a long time and you're still enjoying the show, how about you share it with someone else who you might think is enjoying the show? You know, the more the merrier around here. Speaking of the more the merrier, and I'm remembering this time, Tyler, we're going to do a mailbag episode this week. So please, if you have any questions for us, any at all, honestly, this late in August, I don't even care if it's about basketball or not. But look, basketball questions might get the priority. But if you need life advice, let me tell you, I think between us, I know I can speak for myself. I've got advice in spades. So please hit us up with some mailbag questions in the comment section of this show. I'm also over at the Corporate Knowledge Newsletter, MatthewTynan.substack.com. I am going to be sending out a prompt over there if you so choose to dabble or submit a query.
Yeah, and if you got a face for radio, you can call our voicemail.
Oh, yes.
The link for that is in the description.
Yeah, please do. We have a lot of fun with those. All right. Talked too long about the Knicks. Everyone wants to forget about that series anyway. So why don't we move forward? What else did Corey send our way?
So this kind of goes right in line, I think, with this last one, and it's which teams could be unexpectedly tough for San Antonio next season.
Yeah.
For me, I'm looking at teams that have a lot of size and have dynamic guard play.
Yeah. I mean, I think that I've talked about this on the squad show. I may have mentioned it on this show too. Who knows anymore? I just say these days I'm just like saying things and they just leave my brain entirely in too many different situations. But I know that I've talked about the Jazz before. On this podcast or one of the podcasts on this channel. And I just think that they're going to be one of those teams, especially in a West that is like becoming more and more dilapidated, if you want to put it that way, especially like we haven't even, it is, man. Like we haven't even talked about yet because it happened after our shows last week. I believe it happened like late Friday or Friday afternoon, but Peyton Watson going to Cleveland. Denver is just like screwing the pooch on like over the last several years. That team is literally in decay, losing talent, choosing not to pay, unable to pay, whatever you want to say.
I don't think DeMar DeRozan's going to be the answer there either. No hate to Mr.
Love
DeRozan.
DeMar. I think he will contribute.
Sure.
But in terms of like
not the way Peyton Watson does though.
No, not the way Peyton Watson does. And especially when you're talking about a guy in Peyton Watson who's like, 25 years old. By the way, Rich Paul, Peyton Watson is a Clutch client. Rich Paul, this is not in the rundown. I apologize for throwing this on you.
No,
but
cool.
Rich Paul said on that podcast, that damn Game Over podcast, essentially that, remember like Peyton Watson just was like, he was hurt for forever. They were just waiting for him to come back. Maybe it was going to be the first round. Maybe it was going to be the second round. They didn't even get out of the first round. But down the stretch of the season, and he just wasn't coming back from injury. It turns out like he was basically being directed to just wait because he's in a contract year. I am just like,
Gross.
It's gross, man. And look. It's you can only blame a guy so much for protecting himself in a contract year like that, especially when you're talking about the postseason and teams are going to be throwing you out there, rushing you back if they can from injury to win a championship, like to pursue a championship. But man, does that must suck to hear.
Crazy for Rich Paul to say that out loud.
We all know that happens.
Sure.
I mean, if you're a realistic fan, and I certainly can tell you as someone who's covered the league for a long time, like that stuff happens. But like to hear the agent say that out loud, that would just be salt in the wound if I'm a Nuggets fan. I mean, just brutal to hear that. But back to my point, we're really good at just going off on tangents, but that is what August podcasting is for. I talk about the Western Conference being in decay.
Yeah.
But I look at a team like the Utah Jazz, a team that is on the rise. You can't tank anymore or you're going to get really screwed. And by the way, they kind of folded on the whole tanking thing when they traded for Jaren Jackson Jr. Like that was the sign where they're like, we're going for it now. Like we're going to get our pick this year, Darren Peterson, and we're off to the races now. I think Utah is in position to make like a real leap because Lauri Markkanen and Jaren Jackson Jr. are real players. And you talk about teams like you just said, bigs with dynamic guard play. And
on that team specifically, bigs who are 7 foot tall and shoot threes reasonably well.
And what did I just say about the what hurt the Spurs was a big man who can stretch the floor but also get to the basket. That's both Jaren Jackson and Lauri Markkanen.
Sure
both of those guys can do that. Both of them 7 feet tall. Maybe Triple J is a notch below 7 feet, but he might as well be, with shoes on, I guess. So like that team to me, and then you bring up Keontae George and Darren Peterson. That not to mention like Ace Bailey, like that's a team that not just now is going to quickly become a problem, but like going on down the line too.
I think it's pretty clear their plan was always to rebuild for this coming season. They went in all on the tank, and once the NBA announced they were going to change the rules, I'm sure they're like, oh yeah, we gotta get the best possible pick we can this year because now we have all the more incentive to try next year. But they got a lot of really talented guys. They've got size. They've got good. Keontae George is a really talented point guard.
Oh my gosh, yeah,
he could be really good. I also think that
not
kind
to
of
mention
about
Will
Dallas.
Hardy.
Will Hardy's a great coach.
Yeah.
I kind of think that about Dallas too.
How
Lots
about
of young talent.
Let's talk about Dallas next. Let's check in with the rest of the Southwest Division. How about that? Locked on Spurs is brought to you by FanDuel. Baseball fans, if you think you know who's hitting a homer today, FanDuel is giving you a free chance to call your shot with daily dingers. It's easy to play. Just make your free pick for who you think will hit a home run in their game. If you're right, you'll receive a profit boost to use on your next bet for a chance at extra winnings. Best of all, you can make a free pick every day throughout the MLB season. Daily Dingers is another fun way to stay engaged with every day's games, whether you're following your favorite team or keeping an eye on matchups across the league. Every game has someone capable of going deep. Now you get the chance to make your prediction before a first pitch. Speaking of keeping your eye on matchups, just go look for the fly ball pitchers who have not been throwing the ball very well, who are pitching in a hitter-friendly ballpark or in hot weather. The weather, obviously, if you live in Texas, you know this, but the weather's still hot out there. The ball is still flying. It is still August after all, so go look for those fly ball pitchers because you got a pretty good chance of giving up a dinger if you pick one of those guys. So are you ready to play your game today? Join all the action at FanDuel.com. That's FanDuel.com to play Daily Dingers and make your free pick on who's hitting a homer. Play ball and swing for the fences on FanDuel, an official partner of Major League Baseball. All right, it is time for the final segment. And Tyler, you wanted to check in with the Dallas Mavericks. Let's check in with the Southwest Division in general. But let's start with the Dallas Mavericks. And by the way, probably to a certain extent, maybe not the exact personnel type that we've been talking about here, but in terms of teams that could give San Antonio problems, maybe a little bit further down the road than, say, the Utah Jazz or others that we'll get to here in a second. But what about the Dallas Mavericks interests you?
I mean, Cooper Flagg showed last year he's a really good basketball player.
Yes.
You have Kyrie Irving coming back. They've got a lot of talented bigs and PJ Washington and Derek Lively. why am I blanking? Daniel Gafford.
Daniel
those
Gafford.
guys.
Yeah.
Then
I also
they
want to
add
shout out
Santi
Najee Marshall, by the way.
Najee Marshall, added
Najee
Santi
Marshall.
Aldama,
Had a really
and
good year.
Zachary Risache.
Santi Aldama, freaking Spurs killer.
I know.
Like every
Hate it.
time
Hate
that every time that and you couldn't get him out of the division. I mean,
I know.
he went from Memphis to Dallas, but like that team, that roster construction is sort of a pain in the butt. And Cooper Flagg, okay, so maybe he's not like the traditional big that you're thinking of, but he's basically Karl-Anthony Towns' height. Maybe not quite as big as him yet, but like Cooper Flagg is 6'10 plus, and he plays like LeBron. I don't know, man. Like that dude is going to be a handful for a long time.
It's really just going to come down to can they play together well.
Yeah.
You know? And get it on the defensive end.
Well, having someone like Kyrie back to organize everything is going to be super helpful. Whatever we think of Zachary Risache, maybe this is a chance for him to make a mark in some capacity. I don't know.
Yeah.
They have some young, intriguing guards on that team. Max Christie, I believe, is still there. I don't know why he would have went anywhere. He was part of the Luka trade. Part of the Luka trade, so coming back to Dallas. I want to bring up a team that I feel like is being, I think they're over-under win total, or at least the last time I saw it, this is what it was. But a team that won 53 games last year, and their win total coming into the season is like 49.5, maybe 50.5, and that's Houston. And I think Houston got better. I really do.
Yeah.
I just, between their youth, the fact
having
that they're
some
getting
point guards on the team will be a big help, I'm sure.
Getting Fred VanVleet back, bringing Marcus Smart in. You have Bogdan Bogdanovic, who, if he can stay healthy, he is a perimeter threat and a scoring threat, kind of a multifaceted guard type. So, like, you have this young team. Chip England is in Houston now.
Yeah.
What? Okay. If Amen Thompson manages to shoot better than 30% from three this year,
It's Chip.
it's just give Chip whatever he wants. I mean, he deserves as much if he can
come
do
back?
that.
That'd be cool.
Oh no, I think that ship has probably sailed at this point. Everyone has sort of moved, obviously, into different directions from a staff perspective, organization perspective. And I think that was just kind of part of what San Antonio was doing several years ago when it was just sort of the staff was moving in a different direction. Yeah. And I think everybody's all set up. But to me, like, since we're checking in on that division right now, I think Dallas and Houston are the two most interesting. Memphis did a good job to me in terms of, like, overhauling their roster, going super young. I think Boozer is going to be a hoss. I really do. I think he's going to be a steady contributor. I think Memphis will be really solid down the road. It's going to be weird not seeing Ja in Memphis.
Yeah, it's going to be in Portland.
It's going to be in Portland. And then I don't even know what the Pelicans are doing. They basically didn't do anything.
What the Pelicans are doing, man.
They didn't do anything.
Yeah, and you were not a good team last year.
No. No.
You have Zion Williamson, who you drafted almost 8 years ago, who
I guess like
has
it's
borne
like
no fruit.
the one storyline that you could latch onto would be like Zion finally, speaking of Ja, same draft, just Zion finally puts it all together and is just this all-star.
Just got to stay on the court, man.
Well, that's the thing, and not just that, but like play more than 28 minutes a night or something. So like if we know what when he's at his best, that guy's unbelievable, but it hasn't been sustainable. So I guess the story would be like Zion Williamson, 35 minutes a night, all-star, all-NBA, something like that. Trey Murphy being the perfect number two. I'm not really I know Derek Queen sort of took this is putting it way too strongly to say took the league by storm early on.
Social media, maybe.
Well, like he was a really good rookie, at least early on, and then kind of faded off. But I just don't know what they're doing, and until they do anything meaningful and maybe even get rid of Joe Dumars, because I don't really know what the plan is for that guy. But they're kind of they're just the basement dweller at this point. Maybe I think Memphis could be better than them, like right away, even with the roster overhaul. But to me, like Dallas and Houston, I believe in what they're doing. I think they're going to be competitive. This is all with the understanding, of course, that San Antonio currently, as they're the best team in the division. I still go back to the concept of shrinking the schedule. It'll never happen. We've talked about it plenty of times. But cutting the number of games and making it to where you play every team in your division 4 times, every team outside of division but in conference 3 times, and then everybody in the other conference, you keep it 2. I just want to make divisions really matter again. I just do.
Yeah. It doesn't really matter where you place in the division if another division sucks.
Very little.
Yeah. Speaking of next season, how do we think the refs are going to adjust to Wemby, Steph, and Harper next season after that postseason run? Each one needs a little bit of different adjustment, I think.
You know how this goes. I mean, I do think that playoff basketball, Steph, in a lot of situations, it kind of I felt at least there were a number of times where he's sort of relying on getting to the line, and while his free throw shooting really improved, like he was one of the best free throw shooters for the Spurs in the postseason, which was great.
Like a 10% increase in the playoffs.
And he's going to keep getting calls just simply because of how he plays. Victor, more and more of a superstar. He's going to keep getting calls. I think that there were a lot of stretches last year where people were like, Steph isn't getting the calls that he should. I think as the season went on, he started to. I think in the finals, you got to clearly be fouled in the postseason to get to the line. So that was a little bit up and down for him. And I think as he continues to add variety to his game, he's going to get the benefit of calls more, because there is no longer the appearance that he's just trying to get to the bailout calls by crashing into people. So I think that as he develops his game and it becomes more varied, that he will start to get more of the benefit of the doubt in that regard.
Do you think he'll see more of the benefit of the doubt on the defensive end as well? Because I think he felt like he was getting the same calls called on him a foul that in the other team wasn't during some of the parts of the postseason.
It's going to be interesting to see. They were on both sides of the ball, they were really allowing a lot of contact. This is just going back to what sticks in your craw, which is the inconsistencies between officiating in the regular season and the postseason. So I don't know. I guess we'll see. But I'm actually more curious to see how, because this happens with every player who picks up more responsibility on the offensive end as they get older. I'm more curious to see if Steph remains the same sort of physical defender that he has been, because even if you go back and think of Kawhi, as he became more of an offensive threat, more offensive load on his shoulder, more responsibility, he wasn't quite the same defensive player. It was more in spurts, because they needed to conserve his energy for the offensive side of things. So I'm going to be more curious to see how that pans out with Steph, especially in the postseason. I know that he's going to be getting into it. That is his job, and he needs to stay on the floor. So we'll see. The other one, Dylan Harper, I don't know yet. I think that finals performance really probably sprung him to a different level in the eyes of a lot of folks, and I think that'll probably continue. I think he's going to get more benefit, certainly more benefit of the doubt than he did when he started the season. But I really am going to be curious to see how officials are going to call him when he gets to the rim, because I am just guessing that defenses are going to be a lot more physical with him once he gets in there, because they see the way that dude can finish. And I think that defenses will be probably testing the limits a little bit when it comes to keeping him out of the paint, because if he gets there, you're cooked.
Yeah.
That's kind of how it is.
Yeah. Okay, we got one more.
Okay.
And I think this ties into what you were just talking about with how deep do you think the rotation's going to get next season?
Deep.
Yeah.
They
So
just added
we had
to
11
it.
guys play 10 plus minutes per game last season.
Yeah. That's crazy to me. 11 guys play 10 plus minutes. They're going to match that
Yeah.
at least. You're running out of minutes at some point, so I don't think I think they'll do that again. I don't know how many minutes there are going to be to go around to say 12 dudes get to 10 minutes. I'm not going to go there. But I think that you'll see.
Well, let's run through real quick.
Yeah.
De'Aaron Fox,
Darren Fox,
Dylan
Steph
Harper,
Castle,
Steph
Dylan
Castle,
Harper,
Victor Wembanyama, Tobias Harris, Keldon
Devin
Johnson,
Vassell.
Devin Vassell,
I'm gonna let
Julian
you go.
Champagnie, Harrison Barnes, Terrence Reed Jr.
Did you see Carter Bryant yet?
I did not say Carter Bryant. That's 11 right there.
Jordan McLaughlin. He's not gonna average.
He's not gonna get 10 minutes probably.
But that's 11. That's 11
Yeah.
again.
well, that's
so-
12.
Oh, is that 12?
Yeah.
Oh,
Carter
wait.
Bryant was 11.
Yeah.
For sure.
Well, but Jordan McLaughlin's not going to play 10
Oh, yeah,
minutes.
yeah, yeah.
But I'm just talking about like the rotation, like guys who are going to see minutes. Obviously, Quaintance, we don't know at this point, but
Mhm.
uh,
It's gonna be I think you're right. I think it's gonna be around 11 again. Yeah.
the only goal, the real goal, is can that rotation be 8 during the postseason?
Mm-hmm.
Can it be like 8 guys that you count on, that you can depend on, that you can trust during the postseason, instead of like we've talked about on here, it started to dwindle to 6 or 7 in the finals. If you can get to 8,
10.
it's not
Cool.
that it won't be 10. If it sure. If it cool. if it's 10 late in the postseason, extra cool.
Yeah.
But I would say like if you can get 8 that you can trust, that's excellent. If you can stretch to 9, beautiful. 10 is crazy.
Yeah. But
That's
depth is you want to keep going to the finals every year. That's gonna be
Well,
really
depth
important.
is most important during the regular season. Remember, we've talked about it on this show, especially like when we've talked about dudes like Harrison Barnes and Keldon Johnson, and the fact that they're still major parts of this team because they are your 82-game guys.
Yeah.
Like those are the dudes that you need to ride along the way. Julian, well, you expect him to be even more than that. You need that guy to be a shooter in the postseason, but you need guys to get you to where you want to go. You need the guys to get you there, and you need the guys to finish the job once you are there. Thank you for making Locked On Spurs your first listen. We cover the San Antonio Spurs here every single day. Subscribe and follow us wherever you get your podcast so you get all the latest episodes. You can find me on Twitter at Matthew_Tynan and over at the Corporate Knowledge Newsletter. You can find both of us at the Corporate Knowledge Newsletter. That is MatthewTynan.substack.com. Tyler, where else can they find you, sir?
I'm also on Substack at thevideoman.substack.com, or you can find me on Instagram at Tyler Prince Film. Another reminder, we are doing a mailbag on Friday.
Yep.
And if we get enough questions, maybe we'll sprinkle the rest of them out through the following week. But, send us to them on YouTube. Come check us out on Substack, or give us a call to our voicemail inbox, which is in the description.
That's right. The voicemails are always fun. Please consider, if you have a face for radio, leave us a message. If you're done with the Spurs and you want to hear more about the NBA, head on over to the Locked On NBA podcast, whether it's on the audio side of things or YouTube. Same name, Locked On NBA. There is no off season for them. Stay up to date on everything so you can remain the most informed fan in your friend group. We all know that is critical on an everyday basis. For Tyler Prince, my name is Matthew Tynan. I am not sure if we're going to be doing an episode tomorrow on Wednesday. There will definitely be a squad show, but we will for sure. By the way, Locked On summer schedule, Locked On NBA summer schedule runs through the middle of September, so only a few more weeks left, and then we're here every day, every day.
And then
once again,
camp will be
and then
starting,
training camp, it's gonna. We all know it's about to pop
hoops
off.
Time, baby, let's go.
That's exactly right. So we may see you Wednesday, for sure, on Thursday. So for Tyler Prince, my name is Matthew Tynan. Here is Victor Wembanyama.
Appreciate y'all. See y'all. Never.